Welcome to Campaign Chronicles. By insulting you, and you insult the millions of people that want to vote for me. And that is unacceptable. The words of National Front leader Marine Le Pen, the presidential hopeful, was in a live debate on French television last night, and the opponent that ruffled her feathers, well, that was the far-left candidate, Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Le Pen leads the popularity polls amongst French workers, but in recent weeks, her general approval ratings have gone down. She's lagging behind in third position, behind Socialist Party candidate François Hollande and current president, of course, Nicolas Sarkozy. So could a shift in her tactics bring her a welcome boost? Katerina Vitozzi takes a look.
Back to basics for the Front National's Marine Le Pen. Since taking over the party reins from her father, Jean-Marie, Marine's tried to move away from her dad's hobby horse of ultra-nationalism. Instead, she's been out wooing workers, talking economics and campaigning hard on jobs. Yet that policy shift's left space for Nicolas Sarkozy to appeal to traditionally far-right voters. Along with his Interior Minister Claude Guéant, he's come out strong on national security and immigration issues. With an unwelcome Conservative on her turf outside this immigration centre, Le Pen Jr. fought back.
Despite the rhetoric, despite the apparent determination of Claude Guéant, we can see that the issue of illegal immigration has never been important to this government, and no serious action's been taken.
Before Sarkozy announced his candidacy, Le Pen was almost neck and neck with the president in approval ratings. But over recent weeks, her popularity's been on the slide. Come the first round of voting in April, Le Pen might struggle.
Sarkozy is at 27% for the first round, against 28% for his opponent François Hollande, and only 17% for Marine Le Pen. The prospect of the National Front getting to the second round ahead of Nicolas Sarkozy now seems very distant.
But don't rule out an upset. In 2002, Jean-Marie Le Pen did get to the second round. His daughter wants to go one better.
So will she go one better? Florence Villeneuve, thanks very much for being with us. You're going to take us through what the French press has been saying about Marine Le Pen today. Last night that was that debate against the far-right candidate, far-left candidate even, Jean-Luc Mélenchon. And did they come to blows?
Well, Le Figaro calls it le clash, the Front National versus le Front de Gauche. The two extremes met for this debate, even though Marine Le Pen seriously dragged her feet. Just days before the debate, she said that she was categorically opposed to debating Jean-Luc Mélenchon because she claims that he had called her crazy, half-demented, a barbarian fascist, and just plain stupid. So those are not my words.
He
those
didn't
are
mince his words, though, did he?
Exactly. And a lot of the press is actually calling it a fake debate, a pseudo-debate, because halfway through this debate, she just stopped answering any of his questions and actually pulled out a newspaper at one point and started reading. So it was basically not an exchange of ideas, just an exchange of harsh words, veiled insults. For instance, Marine Le Pen called Mélenchon a public insulter. Mélenchon responded by calling her a hypocrite. So, as I said, no real exchange. According to Le Parisien, there was no clear winner. Les Échos, however, which is the business paper, says there was a clear winner, and it was Jean-Luc Mélenchon. And by refusing to debate him, Marine Le Pen actually gave him a gift. She gave him ammunition with which to woo working-class voters. And Les Échos points out that Mélenchon is a candidate that we should be paying attention to because he's been kind of discreet up until now, but he's the one who's really gaining ground,
maybe, yeah.
Exactly, he's gaining ground in the polls, and he's had a very clever anti-Le Pen strategy, and he's steadily been working the ground. So they call him the little candidate that's gaining ground.
And by default, the winner of last night's debate, according to them. So in other campaign news, Nicolas Sarkozy, let's catch up with him, and of course François Hollande, his chief rival. They had rallies yesterday, and the French press has been reacting to that.
Yes, Le Parisien calls it a duel at a distance because Nicolas Sarkozy held his rally in Lille in the north, and François Hollande was at Le Mans, so in the center. And Le Parisien actually has a funny, there you see it, a funny article that it's kind of a report of what they call a match. It's kind of pits against both rallies and compares them in this kind of face-off according to criteria such as the atmosphere, how many journalists were there, who were the guest stars, who had the best speech, who had the best zingers, who had the biggest flops. So it's definitely a good read, and there's some funny details in the article. For instance, it points out that Nicolas Sarkozy took the train to go to Lille, Of course, he traveled first class, but it was also the first time that he took the train as president. Because up until now, he's always said that
First time as
president.
A little bit tardy.
A little tardy, yeah. He said that as president, it was too complicated for security reasons. Well, maybe unsurprisingly this time, because he took the train, it made the train late because of security reasons.
See. So he can't make it a habit.
You can't make it a habit. But when the train pulled into Lille, the SNCF, so the network, said that the train was late because of a bomb threat, not because the president was on the train. So it's it has lots of little details like that. And according to the article, both Sarkozy and Hollande, perhaps unsurprisingly, both were extremely happy with their performances.
But did they tell us who won?
They didn't tell us who won, but it's definitely, I guess it's up to you to decide according to, who had the best zingers and everything like that. So it's definitely a good read.
I know. Have you got examples of some of those zingers?
It was, you have to read it for yourself.
Okay, I'll have to read it for myself. Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks very much for taking us through all of that. What the French press is saying about the run-up to the 2012 French presidential elections. That's it for this edition of Live from Paris. Thank you very much for being with us. Do stay tuned. Louise Hannah will be up next with the headlines. Bye-bye.
We all know beauty comes at a cost, but is it just financial? The breast implant scandal PIP reminded the world that efforts to enhance our appearance are not always safe. This week, we take a look at the inherent health risks that still exist in the business of looking good.
Don't miss Health today, 4:40 p.m. Paris time on France 24.